Jetsun Milarepa, born 1028 or 40, death 1111 or 23, was a Tibetan Siddha who was famously known as a murderer when he was a young man, before turning to Buddhism and becoming a highly accomplished Buddhist disciple. He is generally considered one of Tibet's most famous yogis and spiritual poets, whose teachings are known among several schools of Tibetan Buddhism. He was a student of the Marpa the translator, and a major figure in the history of the Kagyu school of Tibetan Buddhism. He is also famous for the feat of climbing Mount Kailash.
Milarepa's life story is famous in Tibetan culture, and retold many times. The best-known biography, The Life of Milarepa, written by Sangyon Heruka, 1452–1507, in the 15th century and drawing from older biographies, is still very popular. Most of the present-day stories on Milarepa come from this single source, with oral lineage predominating as well as relics including his bearskin coat. While very little is known about him as a historical person at all, Milarepa is venerated by all Tibetan schools as an exemplar of religious dedication and mastery, and his life story established the lineage of the Kagyu sect and its key figures. Early life. According to the life of Milarepa, Milarepa was born in western Tibet to a prosperous family. When his father died, his family was deprived of their wealth by his aunt and uncle. At his mother's request, Milarepa left home and studied sorcery to take revenge, killing many people. Training and realization later, he felt sorrow about his deeds, and became student of Marpa the translator. Before Marpa would teach Milarepa, he had him undergo abuse and trials, such as letting him build and then demolish 3 towers in turn. Milarepa was asked to build one final multi-story tower by Marpa at Lodrag,
which still stands in Tibet. Eventually, Marpa accepted him, explaining that the trials were a means to purify Milarepa's negative karma. Marpa transmitted tantric initiations and instructions to Milarepa, including Tummo, yogic heat, the oral transmissions and Mahamudra. Marpa told Milarepa to practice solitary meditation in caves and mountain retreats, which, according to the biography, after many years of practice resulted in a deep experiential realization about the true nature of reality. Marpa went to India many times to get teachings, and when he was quite old again for one last time went to India to seek one most important thing for ultimate realization from Marpa's guru, Naropa. Later on, Milarepa tried for many years and finally attained enlightenment. Thereafter he lived as a fully realized yogi.
Sangyon Heruka did his best to establish a lineage of teachers which connects the Kagyu tradition with the Indian Siddha tradition, portraying Marpa as a student of Naropa, though Naropa had already died when Marpa went to India for one last time. The life story of Milarepa portrays the rapid method of the tantric path, in which liberation is gained in one lifetime. It describes how Milarepa practiced the generation stage and completion stage, to achieve Mahamudra, spontaneous realization of the most profound nature of mind. Yet, in his instructions to his Tibetan audiences, Milarepa refers to the basic Buddhist teachings of impermanence, the sufferings of Sasra, the certainty of death and the uncertainty of its arrival, the frightful rebirth that is the direct result of our benighted deeds. But his own life also is an example that even a murderer can transform into a Buddha.
The life of Milarepa portrays 2 parallel worlds, a profane world and a sacred world, which are ultimately one, showing that the world itself is sacred. Students. He has 2 most renowned disciples: 1. Rinpoche, 2. Gampopa. 4 of Gampopa's students founded the 4 earlier branches of the Kagyu lineage: Baram Kagyu, Karma Kagyu, Phagdru Kagyu, and Shalpa Kagyu, also known in Tibetan as Kagyu Che-shi. And 8 later branches: Drikung Kagyu, Linga Kagyu, Drugpa Kagyu, Shuksap Kagyu, Taklung Kagyu, Trofu Kagyu, Yazang Kagyu, Yelpa Kagyu, also known as Kagyu Yage. Some of these later schools, notably the Drikung Kagyu and Drugpa Kagyu, became more important and influential than others.
Another of Milarepa's students, the yogi Rinpoche, brought several important transmissions into Kagyu lineage. Among thousands of Milarepa's disciple, Gampopa's was his one of 2 lineage holder, and his heart disciple was Phagmodrupa, founder of Phagdru Kagyu. At the time of his passing away in front of hundreds of main disciples, a golden vira emanates from his heart and dissolves into Lord Jigten Sumgun, founder of Drikung Kagyu. His coming and glory were foretold by Buddha in his different teachings. Kagya. During his time, more than 200,000 bhikshus were sent to mountains to do meditation on Mahamudra and etc. Currently, there are many Kagyu schools still exist and the practice lineage is well kept. If you give your time to practice, you can still benefit yourself and mother beings.